What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about SoFi. Today we had another volatile day. I want to go over what shorts did, what the data points are saying, and everything else. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi closed in the green, 0.82%, 25.45 the low, 26.35 the high. During the pre-market, things were looking hot like crazy. Then as per usual, I think like the last 3 consecutive days, as soon as the market does open, you just have all hell break loose. SoFi did have a certain level of suppression over and above, let's say, a lot of the other fintech. So it kind of did lag. Luckily enough, chips ran like crazy, so that really pushed the broader market higher. If not, today would have been, in my opinion, a little bit of a bloodbath. And the reason why I feel like we could have pulled a little bit lower was because of challenger job cuts came in phenomenal. So 54,000 versus forecast of 150. That did pop the likelihood of a 50 basis point cut for the upcoming October 29th meeting. Because as I've mentioned, we kind of went negative labor data, not phenomenal data such as that, because heaven forbid we have good data, right? But nonetheless, I do feel over the next couple of trading days, or potentially over the next week, the market will start to price in this 25 basis point cut. So that could be a huge catalyst for SoFi in the broader market. But nonetheless, SoFi did lag a little bit. There was news that did come out though, and so that was this. And this is kind of exactly what I mentioned in my video yesterday on if I was SoFi, I would put out news just to say, hey, we are doing this and this and this with level 1. So they just kind of formalized it, even though it was floating around on social media. So good stuff. Is this a reason to buy SoFi? Maybe. I think we'll have to see how well it's running, if there's any glitches, but nonetheless, this should be a good revenue source going down the pipeline. So another good element for SoFi Invest, because I think that was and has been a big issue with SoFi, is that their SoFi Invest has lagged. So if you want to compete with a lot of the bigger names, you need to keep on innovating, ramping up. So this is definitely a good addition. So yeah, I think in general, this was a pretty good thing. I think overall though, SoFi's just technicals haven't been that great. So you have had a little bit of a suppression, like I said. Even for instance, going over here, Elliott Wave Technicals is now projecting for it, since it broke below that 29.36 pivot point, it is now projecting for it to hit that $22 range. And I actually didn't even really piece 2 and 2 together, but SoFi had 7 consecutive red days. That's crazy. That must be some kind of milestone for SoFi. Not a good milestone, of course, but nonetheless, SoFi closing in the green today did break it. So hopefully from here, the market just continues to kind of move higher and higher. Aside from that, the only thing I wanted to somewhat bring up was this. And so I've started and caught myself looking at SoFi Insider's content a little bit more. And initially, I just always brushed him and categorized them as like just a pumper, because they put out some pretty outrageous claims. But this one right here, and I think just generally, they've been kind of piecing together a lot more potential partnerships and deals that might be coming down the pipeline. And that made me think exactly what Anthony mentioned in the last earnings, that how there is potentially 10 new revenue sources coming down the pipeline. Some might come to fruition, some might not, but all of this is going to be most likely stuff that is starting to be realized in 2026. So I'm starting to look at more of this type of stuff. For instance, even Coastal, how there could be some correlation with SoFi down the line, because for them to tag SoFi might be just a coincidence, or it might be something. But I think generally speaking, from what Anthony did mention, there is a lot of deals coming. So most likely in Q4, there's going to be a lot of big announcements coming from SoFi, some of which is what I've brought up in the past, just associated to cryptocurrency. So that one could be, again, coming out soon that they have not announced. But I think big things are going to be coming for SoFi. So even though SoFi has been lagging a little bit, I do feel that there's a lot of good upside. So again, if you have a long-term time horizon, take advantage, buy the dip, do what you need to do. Sometimes the best times to buy is when everyone is freaking the hell out. And not to say people are freaking out right now, but SoFi not hitting new all-time highs, I think that changed the sentiment a little bit. But beside the point, shorts today, they did return 464,000 shares, 9.48% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 111.62 million shares overall being shorted. So as anticipated, as I mentioned in my pre-market video, shorts were going to return, and as well, I anticipate over the next couple of trading days for them to really return, because the whole shutdown fear nothing really came to fruition from that. So people just bought the dip. So this might be the first type of shutdown scenario that the government goes through that the market just says, cool, sounds good, let's go higher now. So I think once maybe that shutdown is rectified, this is where SoFi and many other stocks will just kind of move higher. But I do anticipate shorts to continue to return over the next little bit. Looking at the options, 61 million in calls, 14 million in puts, and then 48% of all the options being done were bullish in nature. So despite SoFi being how it has been, there still has been a lot of individuals out there still remaining bullish on SoFi. Aside from that though, coming from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 26.50 to potentially even that 27 by tomorrow. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 25.50. So a little bit more upside given the circumstances. With tomorrow being Friday, just take note of this. So you don't see any crazy walls. So this is all the open interest. You have 6,000 at the 26, 6,000 at the 26.50, 11,000 at the 27, and then 10,000 at the 27.50. So again, something just to potentially keep in mind. These are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So a little bit more quiet. You did see some transactions right here and a big one. So 59.1 million, a couple big ones right here. So 2.2, 1.1. I'm sure some of these based on the price action, it looks like that is why SoFi did lag. So there was a little bit of a sell-off right here. Did get largely bought up. Some big transactions did occur on the Darkpool though. So for those of you that tuned into my video yesterday, there was some pretty large transactions. Same goes for today. So I'll hit refresh just to see if there's any more ones that do come out. So there was 65.9 and then 64.9. So 2.5 million and then 2.5. That's actually very eerily similar to yesterday. So kind of interesting stuff. And actually what I will do is I will just look at yesterday. So that was the first. So these were some of the abnormal transactions. So yeah, looks like exactly the same dollar value. So 2.5 or just over there. So most likely that is the same entity doing these transactions. So pretty good stuff. Let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from that though, with it at 25.97, it is trading between this S2 and this S3. 25.21 is going to be a strong support. Wasn't tested whatsoever. 26.44 is going to be the next strong target / resistance point, and it kind of bounced off of that general area. So going into tomorrow, that's going to be a key level to really watch for, and then 27.21 will be the following one. Aside from all that fun stuff, looking right over here, this is not SoFi, so you guys do not care about this stock. But SoFi obviously has been not doing that great, below the 10-day moving average, so it shows that momentum isn't necessarily there. But because of all of this, as a glass half full type of optimistic viewpoint, stochastic RSI, it is oversold. So again, a good piece of news to come out. You could see SoFi really move higher from here. So yeah, as far as consolidation, like I said, I'm not really too worried about it. I think just given what SoFi has actually accomplished in a short time span, very impressive stuff. Any stock not consolidating, I'd be rather worried. So every stock went through this type of thing, so Nvidia and many others. So again, just all depends on your time horizon. If you went all in at 30, then yeah, maybe you might be panicking a little bit. But if you believe, let's say what Anthony is going to be doing, and you feel the US economy and everything is going to continue to grow, SoFi is just going to exceed all of our expectations. Aside from that though, there's not really much in news coming out other than just the level 1 rollout. So that's pretty much it. Comparing today versus yesterday for the market position, you see a little bit more willing buyers. You do have that gap. So if SoFi can actually hit hard, get to, let's say, that 2640 in the short term, or 2644 actually, conveniently, I believe that is the next strong target fib level that I did bring up, then essentially you could see a nice push to, let's say, that $27 range. So all it needs to do is hit hard early on tomorrow and really move higher. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. What's your general thoughts on everything that's been happening? Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with SoFi? So let me know your general thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. So worthwhile to kind of pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.